Okay, so let's have one more game. I took a minute here to get my technique right. So I'm playing black this time, and I'm playing a defense that I've never really played before, the Najdorf, bishop c4. So the Fischer-Sozin variation. So this may not go well for me. I think he was supposed to play bishop to b3 there. Usually that's what happens, so that b5 doesn't come with tempo. So this could be very disastrous for me because my opponent is fairly high rated at 2048, even though it's theoretically a lower rated person than me. I do not know this defense at all, and maybe I've even done something wrong here because I want to be able to play knight c6, but I'm going to have to play bishop d. I think this is the correct setup. The idea is to... Okay, now I'm attacking this knight. Oh, and he's castled kingside. That's interesting. So, I'm just going to play some Sicilian moves here. So, white could try to sack on e6, and that's the idea of putting the bishop and the knight here, coordinating. I'm going to take and maybe play bishop here. Bishop c6. Putting another attacker on the e4 pawn. Maybe he's debating between capturing with rook c6. Yeah, maybe his idea is to try to gang up on the d6 pawn. And if I play bishop c6, he might play something like e5 because of the pin on the pawn. So maybe I try to get my queen off of the pin. Maybe just queen c7 and then queen b7 to try to put pressure on e4, followed by possibly bishop to c6. Okay, so he's going for f3. So I need to come up with some kind of break here. b5, can't do it. What about d5? d5 takes too many pieces on d5. So maybe I just try to double on the c file and try to get some pressure that way. Typical Sicilian stuff. Actually, maybe he can play. Maybe he could play e4, e5 here because of. No, there's no pin on the bishop. I guess I'll just slow down this kingside stuff. Maybe he'll try to force it with h4. I'll just move the knight, and I'm attacking the h-pawn. Just try to keep things closed up here. He should probably play g6, but then I can just take g6. And if he doesn't, then I'm going to play g6 myself and just lock everything up on the king side. Try to get some counterplay on the queen side. g6 might be an idea because even though it's a pawn sacrifice on here, it could weaken my e6 point. So my knight's a little bad, but I could play knight to g6, g7 maybe to try to lock down on f5 and eliminate the rest of the breaks that he sort of has in his position. Yeah, I'll try that. because he's clearly trying to force through f5 now. My bishop and my knight are covering f5. So maybe I can double on the c-file now, maybe. I could play a safety move here, like king h7. I'm getting an advantage in the clock. Oh, there's two spectators, Blue Dasher and Braun Bauer 57. All right, so I'm going to try doubling on the c-file just for some pressure. I wish I could orchestrate. Somehow I need to be able to orchestrate the move d5, but he's got so many pieces on d5 I can't quite get it to go yet. Oh, he's playing f5 anyway. Wow. Oh, that's an interesting idea. The idea, of course, being that if I take the pawn, he takes the bishop. Very interesting. That was a good move. He's also threatening bishop d5. So I need to do something about all these threats. Maybe just this. I don't know. Yeah. So I got myself into a little bit of a tough position here. It's even pawns, and now he's a little bit coming even on time. But I'm going to have to fight these pawns here. Or maybe I should play knight takes in this circumstance. If he doesn't, I'll grab the bishop and play knight to e6. He's going to try to push this pawn home, but I'll try to get pressure on it with, I'll play rook to d8, rook d6. It's an interesting idea for some play, but maybe I have enough resources to handle it here. So, okay, now I'm going to take. Play knight e6, attacking the rook, which has to stay on this diagonal, or on this file, to hold on to the pawn. So let's gang up on the pawn, I guess. And he's going to push, and then I'll play rook to c7. And that should be sufficient, and he's running low on time here. But, okay, that break was interesting. Gave him some play, that's for sure. Alright, now I'll just blockade the pawn. He has 3 defenders on it, I have 3 attackers. I can add 1 more attacker or remove a defender. If he checks, I'll just go. And he's going to lose this game on time here. Alright, let's try to round this pawn up. I don't know about this. I do have to be slightly careful here. Then queen comes in. So what about here? He's trying to get his queen in on this diagonal. Yeah. But he doesn't really have any checks if I just play queen to e7, queen e8, excuse me. He has nowhere to take here. Everything's defended, and I just play queen f7 to trade queens, and that should be it. So that was an interesting game. I'm going to have to look at this on the computer because I'm not sure if I was really played this well or not. So let's take a look at this, and I'll be right back. Alright, so we're looking at the game here. He played, I just skipped ahead a few moves out of the opening. I played knight takes d4, he played rook takes d4. And computer's saying it's roughly even. Let me just try to stretch the variation window here. So queen d8 c7 is what I played, and that's what it liked. Rook d1, so he's putting pressure on d6. I played queen b7. It said bishop c6. Okay, f2, f3, rook c6 is what I played. Now it's liking white a little bit, but not too much. g4. Okay, h6, h4, rook fc8. It doesn't even care about h5. It just says go ahead. I played knight e8, and now I played g5. And he played f4, and I played g6, just trying to close everything up. So it's still roughly equal. And it liked this move knight g7 to try to slow down f5. Queen d2 doubling, still roughly equal. He played f5. It says g takes f5 is the right move. I played e takes f5, and then he played e5. Now it's liking black a little bit after knight e6. Knight e6. I played bishop e6. I played e takes d6. Bishop f8 is what I played. It's still pretty equal. Now it's just saying it's better after I took the bishop and played knight e6, which is what I did. So he's got really no play left in the position. It's just better for black. You can see a 1.5 pawn advantage. Rook c8 to d8, yeah, so I'm just ganging up on the pawn. I played this correctly. Oh, knight takes f4. Yeah, I should have just taken that bishop, of course. Okay, bishop to e4. I played here just to block the diagonal, so I didn't do anything really wrong here. Queen b8. Played knight takes. Queen d4 check. Yeah, now it's just -5 for black. It says king h7. I played king g8. Did that screw anything up? Actually, it says it did. Not really, but I said one was much stronger. So after queen f6, I played queen e7, which was not what the computer says. King h7, but after queen e7, still everything's okay. So I'm just ganging up on the pawn, and he's got no attack. But it was an interesting game. It was a good effort to try to get some play. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Bye.